Welcome to Starlight Mid Channel. Coming in deep, Starlight Mid Channel here with another very interesting video, a good video, as you can see by the title. Today, we're going to talk about how there are many different types of bodies out there. Now, I've done videos about this before, but in this particular video, I'm going to elaborate, specifically talking about from a third dimensional correlation point of view. So, the same way how like we live on Earth, and this, remember, this is Earth. This is just one realm. This is just one realm, one world. You see what I'm saying? The Earth that we in, and this is all one Earth, right? In one realm. But look, you got several different types of bodies that a spirit can take care. Now, granted, it's still an evolutionary process within Earth. This is an evolutionary process within all realms. Because it's always life within life. Higher forms living amongst lower forms living amongst higher forms. You know, that's like here. Like you look on Earth, like you say, you can have bacteria and parasites, cells. You can't even see those, but we know they exist. Yo, Mystical Mysterio, yo, shout you out, gang. Much love in the chat section. Shout out to Mystical Mysterio. Everybody go follow this channel. But so look, so even looking at it from the third dimensional correlation, and I just want to let you know I appreciate you when you're here, man. 100%. And always let me know, man. I do a video for you all that. But anyway, getting back to it, when we look at, let's say, like I say, the third dimensional correlation, uh, when you look at, like I said, bacteria from the smallest life form, atoms and bacteria, parasites, cells, airborne particles that you can't see. Those are some of the smallest forms of life, but we know that they exist to some extent. Um, Now, the way that scientists particularly say that they are and how they look, now that's how they make it up, and you know what I'm saying, because they may not be able to really see it like they tell you that they can, but that's a different video. But we know that smaller entities and things do exist to make up a bigger whole. But like, you got those cells, bacteria, then you got stuff like you got insects, bugs. You know, when you look at insects and bugs, right? Those are a life force, like an ant, very small. They don't even perceive us as humans or any other huge animal like a lion or a dog or even a rabbit or a bunny. They don't even perceive them to the fullest extent because they don't have the brain to fully patch them out, to fully make them out mentally and visually. You see what I'm saying? So an ant wouldn't even have a brain, but there's still a sense of a brain function within an ant for it to even be functionable and move around and do stuff and build kingdoms and stuff like that and communicate and relate to the other ants that it's around. Because that's everything is evolutionary from the lowest level as far as bacteria. Even like your cells that live inside you. Cells are living things. Hell, you was a cell before you even got birth out because sperm cells start off as blood cells first. So that's blood cell. Then the blood cell died. Then it transformed into a sperm cell. You see what I'm saying? Then when the sperm cell live that life till it's able to get birthed out and become a whole human being. But everything is a process because there's bigger cells, smaller cells, even within you. But in every totality, that's why in every animal you had to be a sperm cell first, or whatever you want to call it, whatever their version of sperm cells is for them to get birthed out. That it don't matter if you was in a bird body and before you got birthed out as an egg, before you was when you was an embryo, whatever you want to call it, you was a cell then, and then you finally made it to be an egg. Whether you were a lizard, whether you were a rabbit, a lion, you all still was a blood cell that formed into a sperm cell in that animal eventually. So they live life within life, the same way you got life within you. I'm saying this for a reason. This is correlating right with the video that I'm saying. It's the reason why I'm saying there are many different types of bodies out there. This is the best way I could even explain it. Um, all animals have cells that live within them, right? But guess what? To those cells, the being that lives in is a world. We're a blood cell that lives in within Earth, which Earth is a planetary fifth dimensional being, yada yada yada. We're a blood cell living within that. You see what I'm saying? We're a blood cell living within the being that we in. But like I said, when you living in something, you're not looking at it like, oh, this is moving. You see what I'm saying? Like this is moving. We're in a person. You're not really looking at it like that. Everything seems stabilized because you were in like a lower dimension. Um, so you perceiving it, the time that is going on in the bigger vessel is moving so fast to you, it's perceiving as though it's like staying still. It's like weird. But you so small you don't even perceive that vessel that way. You don't perceive it like you're inside of it to be able to tell it out like a woman is being. You know what I'm saying? Unless you get some type of esoteric knowledge eventually and you go on a certain path of realization, which are, realizing stuff. But other than that, for the most part, you was just a being living inside another being. You're not really fully aware of that being that you're just aware that, oh, I live on planet Earth, or I live in whatchamacallit, or whatever you want to call it. But you're not always looking at it like that's a being. You may not be aware of that first coming out the womb. You just living life is such, you know what I'm saying? But you are in a portal. That's what portals are. Portals, all that is the same, bro. That's why like a female vagina, when you come out of it, you get birthed out, you came out of a portal. You went from one realm to another realm. You came out of a portal. You see what I'm saying? It's portals everywhere. It's all kind of portals. So whenever you look at the concept of portals or going into different realms and worlds, you're going inside of a being, basically. That's the best way to say it. Anytime you're going inside of something, a light, all that, you're going inside of a being. When they talk about portals and realms and all that, tunnels and all that stuff, you're going within the being. You see what I'm saying? You got bigger, more mass beings in higher realms, bigger beings that play out is like you say, less dense or different type of atmospheres you want to call it, or different type of realms of realities that don't play out nothing like Earth. You got some that play out similar to Earth, but still different in their own way because that's their own space. And then you got beings that different worlds, which are beings that play out nothing like Earth, but just know everything is life within life. And I say that because the same way you got blood cells and different cells, all kind of cells and bacteria and smaller life forms living within you, living their own life, not even aware of the world that they in. They just look at you as the world, but they're not able to perceive you and be aware of you like that or what you specifically are. But they just living in you in that world, and they live in their whole world amongst millions and millions. You like a whole solar system, almost like a galaxy to them. You see what I'm saying? You know, you like a whole got many different worlds. Each organ is like a planet. Technically, if you really want to be on, each organ plays out like a planet. Um, to like the smallest little cells, they live on they different worlds. You got the sexual organs, the ones that live in there. You got the heart chakra, the heart. Well, really, just call it the heart in this situation. You got the gut, and all the intestines that wrap around that. That's relative to that space and those organs. All the endocrine system. That's why they come up with the concept of the seven planets, or the seven main planets, and that's why astrology, 12 houses, houses 1 through 12, is all different correlations of the 12 chakras within us, from the top of our head, which is the crown, to the feet chakras, Pisces. Um, so that's the whole thing, because you basically got life within you. All these organs are a form of basically life. That smaller beings, life forms, cells, bacteria, parasites, good bacteria, the good ones and the bad ones. Like I said, cells in general, enzymes, all that stuff. Even nutrients like vitamins, those are a form of beings. Because those give you life. In order for something to give you life and give you energy, it has to have a life. It has to have spirit and soul. Um, what else? What else? So even when you be thinking that animals be dead, if you getting something from that, there's living enzymes and stuff like that living either on that meat or in that meat. So like if something's dead and you be like, oh, it's a dead animal. Yeah, the animal that you killed is dead that y'all eating, but there's still enzymes living within that animal. You see what I'm saying? That's like look, even with wood, you could take a piece of wood. You could take just a freaking furnace or a furniture, a trash can. That you may not look at that as alive, but there's still um, smaller entities like little cells, enzymes, bacteria, and parasites and all that stuff living on it. You know what I'm saying? On a smaller level, they still living on it. You just can't see it because it's too small for you to perceive. But other than that, they still live on these things. So it's the same thing with the food that you eat. Um, but yeah, that's how it is. So like I said, you got life within you, cells within you, and just think about all the other animals out there on all different levels. Bunnies, they got cells that live within them, life that live within them on their organs and their body. You got this like lizards, small things like lizards live in their spells that live in their body. You got insects, little tiny what you call it, in parasites that probably live in their body and cells. Then you got bigger animals. You got dogs that live in it, and there's millions of dogs in the world. You got millions of rabbits in the world, millions of alligators in the world, millions of lions in the world, millions of you know what I'm saying, wildlife, all kind of birds, flamingos, ostriches, any animal that you could think of in the world, and it's millions and thousands of those in particular, let alone all the hundreds of different species of animals that live in general, and all of them got cells that live within you. So look at all these are like worlds, is what I'm trying to tell you. So there's multitude of life out there, and mind you, you see how now this is important. So pay attention to this part. You see how there's all these different shapes and forms of different types of animals and how they look. A bear don't look like a lion, and then both of them don't look anything like a lizard. and then the lizard don't look really anything like a fish, and then the fish don't look anything like a bird, and the bird don't look anything like a cat. You see how there's like all these different bodies, and then none of those look like a worm, and none of those look like snakes. You see what I'm saying? And then none of them look like frogs. You see what I'm saying? So it's just multiple different shapes and forms, and it's still just in one realm of reality. So you got all these different types of vessels that you can take, all these different animals, and we just talk about animals right now. That a spirit, when it's not expanded enough to be a human yet, it can take all these different types of animals depending on how it's resonating. All these animals, and in all these animals, just all these species, there's millions and thousands and hundreds of those different types of animals specifically. There's hundreds of type of frogs, there's hundreds of type of dogs, hundreds of type of wolves, hundreds of type of lions, hundreds of type of rabbit, deers, all that, moose, elk. Excuse me, 100 of type of every type of animal, and then just in just each and one of those animals, there's millions of cells and life living inside it. So that's letting you know life is really endless. So don't take life really too seriously. Like take it seriously, but don't. And I'm gonna break it to what I mean by that later in this video. But just think about it. And that's in just this one realm of reality. And there's hundreds of different realm realities and thousands of realm realities out there. So that lets you know how vast the what they call the rabbit hole go, how deep the rabbit hole go. Um, because of how expanded this universe is. And when we be pointing to when we be saying the universe, we really only pointing to this universe and this space, this overall space that got the different what you would call planets and spaces and solar system within it. But it's really universes beyond that. But that's another video. You see what I'm saying? That I ain't gonna necessarily get into right now. But you need to understand that. And so the same way how there's millions of different types of species here before you get to take a human, there's millions of different types of species up there. Just think about how many species that could be up there and different beings that's up there. That you just when you go to like the fourth or fifth dimension, you end up being like a cell within them. And amongst probably millions or hundreds of other cells. You see what I'm saying? And y'all just in this one being. And there's probably more beings in that realm than down here. For this to be even in this realm. To have animals and stuff and different species in this realm. So it's just probably hundreds of different realms of realities and stuff like that. You gotta understand that some of them don't play out anything at all like the one we in here. Because remember, we in this particular Earth being as a whole. So even though we all have different shapes and forms, which that lets you know how broad it is anyway, we could still be in one being and still have hundreds of different shapes and forms. But we all still resonate with this being that we in, this Gaia being in general. Due to in some shape or form, we resonated with it. You see what I'm saying? Um, so understanding that lets you know how broad it gets when you talk about it in the spiritual realm on higher dimensional levels, how many other realms of reality. And really, I feel like I believe there's multiple third dimensional realms in general, even outside of Earth that's still third dimensional. But once you go to a higher dimensional level, I believe it's even more life and even more wombs or portals that you can go into and worlds you can go into. But you're always being birthed and born out into something. I can admit that. It's like the same way how like a fish got different cells in it, and then they get birthed out. A little fishy get birthed out, and it's like a little baby fishy, and then it folds into a full fish. But it was within something first. It was within that being that other fish first. Same thing with a bear. It got little cubs. First, that cub was a cell, then it was a sperm cell, then it got birthed out. Same thing with birds, with lions. Everything is life within life. That get birthed out of something. You see what I'm saying? But you live within that being first before you get born out. This is why like a lot of times um the level of life that a person takes within a person. Like you can live like millions of what you would say millions of years, thousands of years. But really I don't really believe in time in that really in that way like that. But a person could take many different travels within a one being before it gets birthed out. You see what I'm saying? Because it's went through so many different travels that it's learning and experiencing before it finally gets birthed out. People make it seem like birth is inevitable, and really birth ain't inevitable. Like they be making it seem like birth is inevitable, but birth, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but like birth is inevitable, like it's just gonna happen anyway. But really, that's not really a case. Like a being is in some is in the being, and you got millions of blood cells in you that might never get even if you let's say you do have sex, right? You might have millions of blood cells in you that you might never even that may never come out of you. You might have one son or two children, one daughter, one son, and that daughter and that son was the only blood cell that got birthed that down and lived and transformed into you in different lives of cells, and then made it to the sperm cells or egg cells, and finally got birthed out because they was the most intelligible in that space, and was able to be broad enough to get birthed out and have a human body. But there's millions of blood cells in you, and probably more than millions, probably trillions, that never see the light of day in your reality. Now they probably live in your world, and if you don't have sex and nothing get birthed out, they probably die and transition, and then they might float off and go to some other take like air particles. Somebody breathes that in and go through somebody else's uh, body and stuff like that and live life like that. But it's all metaphysical from a point of view though. You know what I'm saying? This is why like the thoughts that you have, the feelings that you have, bend in and become like you say blood flow and stuff like that. Um, you can kind of heal yourself just from a spiritual nature. You see what I'm saying? By having your internal world right and having enough energy internally and stuff like that. That's why I say imagination, meditation, diving with your emotions and feelings, but from a high vibratory point of view. You see what I'm saying? Can even heal to an extent. So, but really, I know it sounds like a rambling, but that's basically the pretty much the main thing I was talking about. There are many different types of bodies out there. And I love to use the third dimensional correlation because we just in one realm. This is one small realm. Earth is small at that. Y'all really can't even really fathom what life is like. Y'all think it's normal just being down here. And you go probably going through hell. Nothing's not going your way. You probably think it's normal. You're like, oh, yeah, well, this is a life supposed to be in dog eat dog world, and you gotta fight hard to make it to the top. You think that that's just like normal, but really, bro, life's so damn broad, so vast. If you really knew what really was out there and what really was going on, you wouldn't even live your life the same, bro. I'm gonna tell you 100. You probably wouldn't even have a care if you really knew what everything in the spiritual realm was and what the higher dimensions consisted of, and how much life was out there, and how many worlds within worlds, and how it's all not only hundreds and thousands of other realms and realities out there in general, not just Earth. Knowing that Earth itself, with all the life that is here and how broad it seems to be, is just one small planet, just one small realm of reality. Earth ain't no grand realm of reality. It's a small realm of reality with a lot of small people that are sheep. And it's just one realm of reality with all that in it. And there's hundreds of all of those, thousands of all those other realm of realities you can go to. If you really knew that, you wouldn't even live your life the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. You wouldn't even look at life the same. And then this will come back to what I was saying earlier. I was gonna say at the end of the video. I was gonna say it's like that's why I say life is like meant to take seriously, but it's not. And what I mean by that is, it's meant to take serious in the sense of like you know that your spirit is important. So everything that you do, that you experience, that you learn, will be carried with you in the sense of it expands your spirit, so you can either ascend higher, aka take a bigger vessel. That is something serious you should take seriously, and you build your own internal energy and take your spirit serious because the spirit is the only thing you take. You are. You don't take it with you. You are. So these things follow with you. You see what I'm saying? And everything is accumulation. Everything that you dump into every experience is accumulation. You see what I'm saying? It's like a chakra. The other guy say there's like millions of small chakras. All these are just areas of life. Because you live in this realm of Earth, your body is mainly consisted of this space and Earth too. So every millions of areas, that's like any job you can think of, any activity you can think of, there's a chakra for it. And all the main, but they say the main seven chakras really is 12 main ones, but all the main seven chakras that they give importance to, these just rule over all those areas in general. But there's still smaller substitutes of that area. That's like, let me give you an example. Root chakra, 6 organs. So the main thing, the root chakra, that's like that governs what sexuality, security, all that. But around the root chakra, you have things that correlate with that too, like your ability to build. You see what I'm saying? Your ability to build, your ability to know how to build in particular. Like all there's millions of awarenesses and chakras that are many that are around just the root chakra itself. You see what I'm saying? And the more a person dives into activities that deal with security, some may be different. Some may deal with cooking. Some may deal in the situation, like I said, cooking, fishing, hunting. Some may deal with building of the building, building the building. You see what I'm saying? Building. But yeah, anyway, I think I just got cut out and cut off. But I just got my phone just died, but I'm back on now. I think it overheated. But anyway, I'm back. I'm gonna end this out because I guess I am going on. But I did want to say that's basically everything. There's always life within life. In the same way how we live in Earth, that's just one realm. But there's millions and hundreds and thousands of different species of beings that's here, like animals, bugs. You see what I'm saying? Humans, of course, which human is obviously the highest evolutionary here, the highest scale here. But Also, understand that there's millions of cells that live within each of those beings. There's millions of different species and millions of those species, and then in each of those species, those are millions of different cells and life forms and smaller bacteria and enzymes living within it. You see what I'm saying? So there's always a sense of life within life, and Earth is just one realm, and it's hundreds of different, you know what I'm saying, realms out there. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So the same way you see thousands of different animals here that a person could take when they're on a certain evolutionary scale spiritually, the same way when you get up there to a higher realm, you're gonna realize it's hundreds of those that you can take too. But life never really ends. Like there's different shapes and forms of all these things. See what I'm saying? And it kind of gets more extreme when you get up in the higher realm. Extreme in the sense of it's more to it. Like it's more different bodies a person that you'll realize. But once you get higher dimensional, you won't even see it that way because not only will it kind of be normal to an extent in certain ways, but it's also like you'll be in a higher dimensional perspective, seeing it that way. Like you won't be able to see it here. Like when you think of it now, it's probably crazy, but when you in that real, you in that higher dimension, so you'll be able to perceive it that way. Like it's, you see what I'm saying, to the full, to its full aspect. But other than that, I'm gonna let y'all go. Um, Hope y'all understood what I was trying to say. Uh, and that's pretty much it about how there's many different bodies out there that a person could take. And I love using the third dimensional correlation because it relates to it so much and it gives you the easiest, clear sight of vision of what is out there and see the correlation between it. But with that being said, let y'all all take it easy. I'll probably be back soon, not gonna lie to you, because I need to get these videos out. We getting right, you know what I'm saying? We trying to expand too, because everything that you do is an experience or that you learn is automatic spiritual expansion. Any new experience that you get into is an automatic any experience in general is an expansion. I don't care if you've been doing guitar for 1,000 years. Eventually, you're gonna start getting better and better at that guitar. And even if you feel like you're reaching a plateau, are you reaching a breaking point? That breaking point that you at is still the best you ever played that before. So that's still new. That's still a new experience than what you was when you first were playing that guitar or piano. So I'm just giving an example. Anything that you do is an experience. Anything that you do is an experience, is an expansion. Anything you learn and knowledge is an expansion. See what I'm saying? And then yeah, yeah, 100%. But with that being said, I'm gonna let y'all go. Y'all have a great day. Stay encouraged. Let me know if y'all need any videos. I'll get back to y'all. So peace.